Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike with another MLS updater. Yesterday, the MLS transfer window slammed shut, and today we're going to be talking about some of the most exciting signings that happened on deadline day in Major League Soccer. So, Dennis Bouanga arrives in LAFC and they are going for it all. Extra depth into the front line with a new designated player signed for around $5 million. He comes from Saint Etienne, who were relegated last year from Ligue 1 in France, but the Gabon international managed to score 9 goals last season. He can play as a centre forward, he can play as a wide player, so this gives even more depth to a front line which includes the likes of Carlos Vela already, Arango, Apoku, Rodriguez. These two players were signed earlier on this transfer window. Bale, Chiellini, two global superstars who have arrived and added a huge amount of depth into this LAFC side. They are going for the Supporters' Shield and MLS Cup with signings like this and depth like this throughout the squad to ensure that rotation is possible. Not only have they added Bouanga on the last day of the transfer window, but earlier on they brought in Sebas Mendes from Orlando City, who provides extra depth in that midfield alongside of Ilie Sanchez, Kellen Acosta, Cifuentes. They've got much more depth. They're going to be the side to beat this season. And Cherundolo knows that this is the squad that you've got. This is the roster that can take you all the way. And only time will tell, but they're the side with the target on their back now. So, not wanting to be outshadowed by their rivals, we stay in LA, and the LA Galaxy have signed Riqui Puig from Barcelona. The Catalan side going through some well-documented financial difficulties have seen the right time to move on Puig, who's arriving on a free transfer but will have a number of sell-on clauses and buyback options for Barcelona should they wish to recall the young midfielder. He made his debut at 19, compared with the likes of Andres Iniesta, a very technically gifted player who will provide some excellent support through the middle for the likes of Chicharito and Joveljic. It's something which the LA Galaxy needed to ensure they replaced with the departure of Raveloson, who has gone back to France, and he was sold through to Auxerre in Ligue 1. So, with this signing, it's a statement signing. It's something that will rival some of the big signings that are coming through across the city in LAFC, but a young one, someone who's able to come in on the TAM deal. He's not needed on the DP. He can play more progressively, and it's something which LAFC need. They've also brought in Bergman, a Uruguayan central midfielder from Parma in Italy. So they're rebuilding that central midfield area where they're looking to really create that stronger roster to be making sure that they are trying to compete for those playoff spots again. Still sitting currently outside of the playoffs, they need to be competing well. They need to be creating those opportunities, more clear-cut opportunities possibly for those forward players, especially going away from home. So, moving across to the Eastern Conference, and Wayne Rooney has his third and final designated player with the deadline day signing of Christian Benteke from Crystal Palace. The Belgian, who's been playing in the Premier League for a number of years now with Palace, most recently Aston Villa and Liverpool as well on his CV. A big, physical, quick, strong forward who's going to provide the opposition defenders with a lot of difficult work throughout 90 minutes when he's up top, especially being able to link up with the likes of Taxi Funtas. Rooney has been rebuilding this squad since his announcement as head coach. There's been a number of changes. Prior to this designated player, Edison Flores went back to the Liga MX with Atlas. They've brought in a number of players. Ravel Morrison has come along with Rooney from Derby. The Jamaican international brought into that midfield. Martin Rodriguez, a wide player from Chile. Miguel Berry has come across from Columbus Crew. He seemed to be a bit of a starting forward alongside Funtas, but you'd expect Benteke to take that role now, and Miguel Berry to provide those alternatives and that rotation throughout the rest of the season. David Ochoa has been brought in from RSL. Romo's performances haven't been particularly impressive, to say the least. But Ochoa has not had any MLS games this season, and he's taking his time to make sure that they're ready to introduce him into the starting lineup. The other DP, like we said, when Rooney took over, they had the one. Now they have three. Victor Paulsen has also been added into that centre of midfield. So it's an exciting time for DC, who are sitting rock bottom of the Eastern Conference and in need of a big change. Rooney's system has been adopted. The back four, 4-2-3-1. Looks like Julian Gressel has left for Vancouver Whitecaps, the wing back, as they didn't really suit the system that Rooney was trying to bring in. So we'll have to see how this new style, with time to work under Rooney, what DC United can do going forward this season. The playoffs seem a long way away, but they seem to be looking to build this squad. They now have Benteke at 31 through till the end of the 2024 season, with a club option of 2025, as reported by Steve Goff and Tom Bogut. So they're starting to rebuild. They're starting to take shape, and we'll have to see if DC United can return to some more impressive and more consistent form. So new side Charlotte FC have also been busy on transfer deadline day, bringing in Nuno Santos from Portuguese side Benfica. They bring him in for around $1 million in a TAM contract. The attacking midfielder is a former under-21 Portuguese international. He's 23 years old now, and he brings class and quality on the ball, which will help build up that link between the midfield and the attack in those for Charlotte. As they've got the players up front, Swiderski especially, and players around them who are looking for that service, but a lot of their midfielders are rather similar or still learning. The likes of Ben Bender is a brand new player to MLS through the Super Draft, the first pick. A lot of excitement around him, but he still needs time to develop, despite a very impressive first season. But Nuno Santos brings that extra quality into that midfield, making sure they can link up. Like we said, is going to be very important, especially away from home, where they've been struggled particularly. At home, they're very dominant at the moment, and that's got them into 7th place in the Eastern Conference on that playoff line. So it'll be interesting to see how Nuno Santos can help the squad maybe control games a little bit better, especially when going away from home, knowing they've got that quality, someone who can get their foot on the ball and dictate play. They've brought in Adilson Malanda as well, young French young centre-back, one for the future, who'll be building, especially probably for next season, but we'll see how he can be used this year. Nathan Byrne has also come across since leaving Derby after the massive financial difficulties they've been having, which Wayne Rooney had previously been manager for. So that fullback adds more depth. Usually a right back can play left back, so they've got that support there in the defence that's most needed. And another thing of note for Charlotte in this transfer window is the fact that they've signed their first homegrown talent. Brian Romero has signed his first contract with Charlotte FC. So we'll have to see. They're looking to make sure they can try and hold on and maintain this playoff push. And it'll be interesting to see how Nuno Santos can adapt, how quickly he can get involved in MLS, and how he will help them maintain possession and become a more dangerous side going forward. And finally, Matt Maiska arrives in Cincinnati from Chelsea. The former US men's national team centre-back now will have a permanent home after spending 6 years at Chelsea. After arriving for around $4 million, he's spent the last 6 years on 6 separate loan deals, and now he has a place to call home. Cincinnati, desperate for the defensive reinforcements. Offensively, they're one of the best in the league. The likes of Acosta, Brenner and Brandon Vazquez have been incredible all season long. But defensively, that is where Pat Noonan knew that he had to make some additions, and the likes of Matt Maiska is what they've been looking for. Someone they can bring in on a TAM deal, He's come in on a free transfer as Chelsea ready to let the player go, and he can provide a bit more stability, a bit more leadership, and someone who know that he has a plenty of quality in Major League Soccer. He hasn't been here for a while, but he's back and he's taken a lot of experience from around Europe that he can bring back into this side and look to try and help them steady the ship somewhat, especially in defensive end, and push for those playoffs places. Cincinnati have struggled, been one of the worst teams in the league every year since their expansion season. This year things have changed, and under Pat Noonan they look an exciting side, and this edition should help them. They brought in Sergio Santos from the Philadelphia Union earlier on in this transfer window as well to add a bit more depth up front. So they are looking to try and make sure that they can maintain this consistency that they have, and then look to push for those playoff spots. So that was my top 5 players signed on the secondary transfer window deadline day in MLS. Thanks very much again for listening, guys. Please hit that subscribe button. Follow me on @MikeRice1983 on Twitter, and come back for more MLS updaters. Thanks very much.